Same old England, new Welsh attack. What's going to happen on the weekend? Who knows? So the teams have just been announced. I'm going to dive into them. My name's Kieran and this is Kieran Talks Rugby. So let's dive into it. We're going to do the England team first. If anyone's new, then if I look across to the left, it's just because my monitor's there and I've got all the teams up on there, so it's a little bit easier for me to do. So first of all, England, Joe Marler, Jamie George, Will Stewart, your front three. Very, very kind of happy with that, very settled. Again, we are struggling on number threes in this country and stuff like that. You will notice that Dan Cole is on the bench. And I think Borthwick's been a bit smart with this one, okay? So he doesn't want to put his two best scrummagers on the park at the same time. He wants to have them different. Because again, if he takes them off, we're in a world of problem like we found in the South Africa semi-final last year. So like I said, then we're moving over to Maro Itoje and Ollie Chesham. Settled partnership, wasn't exactly the best last week. Ollie Chesham, a little bit late out the guard, but the thing is, right, some people are giving Ollie Chesham a bit of criticism for shooting out the line. England are adapting a new way of defence. They've got Felix Jones, I think it's Felix Jones, the Irishman. Anyway, this guy is trying to put in a new attack system, defence system, and in such a period of time, I think he's just gone, do you know what, guys, just blitz, 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 and eventually it'll work. But teams are going to exploit that. Teams are going to find ways around that, and they probably already have. But when it's a new system, it might not be the person that gets out there first is the problem. It's the other people inside there. So moving over to the back row, we've got Ethan Roots, Sam Underhill, and Ben Earl. Ethan Roots had a class game. I think England have been lacking a big number 6 for a few years, a big ball carrier, someone's going to put in the work, hard graft, and he's been playing extremely well for Exeter, and it's nice to see him do really well. And he got man of the match last week, which is good. Sam Underhill, bit of a quiet game, but again, he's not put a long string of games together for Bath, and again, his first kind of England inclusion was against that bronze match against Argentina in the World Cup. So again, with any of these championships, it takes time to grow. And again, you've got to remember, with England, there are a lot of combinations that don't normally work together. Especially this one. This is such a young back row and stuff like that in terms of working together. So yeah, just give them a bit of time. But I tell you what, Sam Underhill would always be in my team. He's a class operator. He's a very good tackler, very good defensive person, great over the ball. So he's a top operator. And not only that, he plays for Bath. So I'm happy. Then we've got Ben Earl. Obviously one of England's kind of standout players, pretty much. Not naturally kind of like a number 8, normally plays at the 7, but I think for England we need something out there. And I don't care where this guy plays as long as he plays on the pitch. I'm happy. Moving over to the halfbacks of Alex Mitchell and George Ford. Again, I see in the comments online and stuff like that people aren't exactly happy with George Ford at the moment. And I think they're absolutely idiots. I'm going to put my name on the line and say I highly rate George Ford. He's a class operator. He's done so many consistent good things for England. Yes, he's not exactly the biggest bloke, but he can make tackles. But start picking people for what they're good at, not for what they're bad at. And again, he's got a bit of strapping on his knee, but really you need that experience. You think about it, it's England-Wales. That rivalry is massive, and if you're going to chuck Finn Smith in, I don't think it's his time to go straight in. I think he needs to start getting some 20 minutes, 30-minute game times with Borthwick, and I think that's when you'll see him develop and go from there. And it's the same with any kind of team. You saw it with Rowan O'Gara and Johnny Sexton and stuff like that. These players just need game time at the end to build up and manage a game. But again, I'm very happy with George Ford. You got to remember, he's playing to a tactic, he's playing to a script that Borthwick wants, and he absolutely delivered that. He kept Leicester up for 2 years when they were going to get relegated, and he did that single-handedly, remind you or not, that he actually survived. Leicester survived because of him, and he actually contributed massively for Leicester's success to win the Premiership the other year, albeit, and obviously he tore his Achilles, I think it was, and then Freddie Burns obviously come in and saved the day and stuff like that. Again, George Ford, great operator. Moving on to the centres, we've got Fraser Dingwall and Henry Slade. Am I happy with this combination at the moment? No, but have they played together enough? No, exactly. So it is a young partnership. I think you just need to stick with them. You're only going to know over a period of time. You're actually playing players that need to play in their positions, which is really important. So many years, Farrell's been playing 12 and all over the place. I think we just need to stick with it, give it a couple of games, give it to the end of the championship, maybe even give it a little bit longer, but eventually it will click. But you've got to remember, you've got Manu Tuolangi who's out injured, you've got Ollie Lawrence out, and I don't think you can replace those guys in terms of size and physicality. Moving over to the back three, you've got Elliot Daly on one wing, you've got Tommy Freeman on the other, and you've got Freddie Stewart, Mr. Reliable, at fullback. A lot of people aren't particularly happy that I've been noticed with Elliot Daly, and I'm going to stick my name out, just like I'm going to stick my life out. Life out? I don't know. We're going to keep rolling it and there's no cuts on here, but I'm going to put my name out there. Elliot Daly is still a class operator. He hasn't got the pace he used to have and for international, but you're picking him for his experience. He's going to pull that young back line together, and he can move and things like that. And you think how good he was underneath the high ball. I think he got back like 3 taps from the kicking chases that we were doing like the centre of the pitches. And only that, it is going to be a tight game, and if you need someone that's going to bang over the kicks, you need to pick Elliot Daly. Like, George Ford has got strapping on his legs, so he's not going to exactly bang them over from long ranges. But when you see these games being played and the physicality of these two teams, they absolutely hate each other. You're going to need someone to maybe slop over 3 points, and I know exactly who I would be putting on my team if England were 1 point down with a minute to go. Obviously, it's a bit of an ass doing it, but yeah. Tommy Freeman, class player, showed very, very well how good he is, and it's also good to find out that obviously if he needed to, we could bring him into the centre partnerships, which is good. On the bench, Theo Dan, Ellis Genge, Dan Cole. Like I spoke about, Cole's on the bench because Steve Borthwick doesn't want his 2 best scrummagers on there. Ellis Genge is going to come off. Great player, huge impact. I really like that, especially with Theo Dan with the Saracens combination with Jamie George. You've got Alex Cole and Chandler Cunningham South coming off the bench. So again, you've got someone who's got pure athleticism, and Chandler Cunningham South. What a unit. That guy, I reckon, could be the next Courtney Laws. I see a lot of people saying it's early days yet, but he just reminds me of like LeBron James in terms of like the size and stuff, and he can motor, so he did really well. And then for obviously your replacements on the back, Danny Kerr didn't exactly have a brilliant game, I don't think, on the weekend, but oh well, you've just got that experience. He knows when to do things. He's just got an overall good game management. Finn Smith, like I said about, he's coming of age. He can manage a game really well. And then you've got Emmanuel Feo-Wabusu, who would be great to get on there. And how good would it be if he actually scored the winning try towards the end of it? That would be a story. So moving over to Wales. Again, a few changes for Wales. You've got Gareth Thomas coming in, you've got George North coming back in, and you've got Will Rowlands coming back in. Huge experience of these players and stuff like that. A few people have been dropped on the benches and stuff like that. So again, Gatlin is showing that he is being ruthless. If you have a bad performance, you're gone kind of thing. But let's just jump into it. So like I said, Gareth Thomas in, Elliot Daly and Kieran Asoti. I can't pronounce the name. So good little bit of talent there. Then you've got Daffyd Jenkins and Adam Beard, again the young 21-year-old captain Daffyd Jenkins who played really good. Adam Beard is just going to be an absolute menace at the line out. You've got Alex Mann, Tommy Farrell and Aaron Rainwright, and what a player Rainwright was in that second half. He absolutely owned it, and he was so good on the weekend. I really like that. Then you've got Thomas Williams coming in, Leon Lloyd for your for your halfback, and then obviously you've got your centre partnerships of Nick Tompkins and George North, which I think are going to be a massive pain in the backside for England, because those boys are physical. They're going to hit, they play with each other, they've got loads of experience and they know exactly what to do. And then obviously for your wingers, you've got Rio Dyer, who I find is just growing with talent game after game, and he's such a good player. He was working off the ball, controlling it, brilliant. Josh Adams last week played okay. I think he did a couple of stupid things like chuck the ball out, but again, he's got experience. And then you've got your Cameron Winnett at your kind of fullback and stuff like that. So that's kind of the Wales starting team. And then obviously for your replacements, I just need to wiggle the mouse. So for your replacements, you've got Ryan Elias, who's been dropped to the bench. Corey Domanczewski, I can't pronounce his Polish name. Archie Griffin in there. Will Rowlands, Tane Basham, who I think is going to be one to watch when he comes off the bench. That guy is explosive. He's going to take people with him. He's a big unit. And then obviously you've got Kieran Hardy coming in at scrum half. You've got Keane Evans, and then you've got Mason Grady who's going to come in at the centres and stuff like that. So that's the Wales team. So I thought, like I do with these videos and stuff like that, I'm going to put a combined 15. If I had access to Welsh players and English players and put them together, this would be kind of my dream team, and I think that would work really well. So Joe Marler and Jamie George, and then Kieran Asoti. I'd put Daffy Jenkins in there just because he's young. He's a really good player. Partner him up with Maritoji. And then obviously as my... I can't even talk at this point. For number 6, I'd have Aaron Wainwright in there. I can't even pronounce it, sorry. Aaron Wainwright. You know what I'm trying to say. But anyway, I'd put him in there just because he was so good on the weekend. He absolutely bossed that second half, so he needs to be in there. Tommy Raffel, I think he just had a better game than Sam Underhill. And again, if you need someone that's going to turn over balls and penalties and stuff like that, you need that guy in there. He's class. And then Benno in there for me because he's a class speed operator. Thomas Williams would be my number 9 just because he's fast, he's chippy, he's just an absolutely irritating number 9. He's just everything you want from a number 9. George Ford, I stick out him, he's world class. I put Elliot Daly on one wing because again, you need that long range kicking ability. He can kick, chase, do whatever you want. Then I'd actually use Nick Tompkins and George North as my centres. Again, big units running over there. And here's the one that I kind of think that would be really good is having Tommy Freeman in there. He's a big bloke, he can hit, he can run lines, he can catch balls, he does everything, and he's got pace. And then I'd put Freddie Stewart as my fullback. As my replacements, I would have Theo Dan, Jamie George and Dan Cole off the bench. Again, experience, happy with that. I'd have Rowlands and Basham again coming in kind of my second rows, and my kind of like back row replacements. And then for my backs, I'd literally have Danny Kerr, Finn Smith, which I think are very good players. And then I'd put Mason Grady in case I get kind of any injury and I need to move people to someone like George North. If I got a winger that went down, I'd pull George North out, put him on the wing and put Grady in there. But yeah, that's my kind of combined team. That's the hot news. Can England beat Wales? I think they should. I don't think they're convincingly going to do it. I don't think it's going to be a far-fetched game. I think these teams are very, very evenly matched. I do think England going to win it. I think it's going to be 24-22. That's what my predictions are. But yeah, put in the comment section below what you think the score is, what team that you would like to see in your team, and just get in the comments because I like to debate with people because everyone has their own opinion. But ultimately, it's the coaches that pick people, and we are going to be blessed with a great game on the weekend, no matter what happens. So this is Kieran Talks Rugby, and I'll catch you in the next one.